Now on the CTV News at 5, delays on election results after provincial changes. Plus, the province announces more changes to provincial and municipal elections. And
have won the pennant!
The Toronto Blue Jays are headed to the World Series.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. Well, we still don't know who will be the next mayor and council in Lethbridge. Hundreds of election workers have been counting ballots by hand since polls closed last night. As of 10 o'clock this morning, incumbent Blaine Higgin is leading the race with 42% of the vote. Ryan Meny is close behind with 38% of the vote. At this time, only 13 out of 20 polling stations are reporting. The city of Lethbridge says counting of mayoral ballots will resume this evening. Now, as for the city councillor contest, incumbent Belinda Crowson is currently leading with 3,900 votes. Incumbent Jen Schmidt-Rempel is slightly behind with 3,600. At 2:30 this afternoon, only 10 out of 20 polling stations are reporting. No results have been released for school trustees. This year's election has seen a major drop in voter turnout, with only 17,000 people casting a ballot. That's about 19% of eligible voters. In 2021, voter turnout was nearly 35%.
The big thing that changed this time around is the rules that the provincial government put in surrounding municipal elections. And I think that many people, after looking at this result, are in fact going to be asking the question or saying, if it ain't broke, why fix it? We've been trying to get more and more people come out. These rules have to be cited as probably the main cause for why such a precipitous drop has occurred.
The city of Lethbridge is anticipated to update its results again at 5:30 and 10 o'clock tonight, and those results can be found at lethbridge.ca/election. In Medicine Hat, incumbent Lindsay Clark has been declared mayor-elect there, and this will be Clark's second term as mayor. She won with just over 5,700 votes. Former MLA Drew Barnes finished up as runner-up with just over 5,000. Clark says she's ready to get to work with a new city council and build positive relationships.
It's important for every person on council to feel like their voice is being heard and that, they're working towards something that they're passionate about. And, the skill sets among the potential council are quite diverse. And so, thinking about collectively, which roles are we each going to play?
Now, Clark is coming off a tumultuous first term, which saw City Council strip much of her powers and cut her pay, but both her power and pay were restored later by a judge. Now, the city of Lethbridge says the long delay in results is due to election workers having to count ballots by hand. The city tells CTV News it's been preparing since November for a delay in results and says the teams are working hard to accurately count every ballot. Now, despite the changes, other municipalities have already released an official result list, including in Medicine Hat, where its list for mayor, council, and school trustees was released at 1:30 this afternoon. Medicine Hat had 250 workers counting ballots for 6 mayoral and 39 councillor candidates. One political scientist says the blame should fall on the UCP government.
The province is in the enviable position of being able to set all the rules for municipal elections and then simply hand off the administration of those rules to the cities and not have to account for the impact that those had on the vote.
The city of Lethbridge had more election workers counting ballots. Since 1992, Lethbridge used electronic tabulators. In a statement to CTV, the Minister of Municipal Affairs blames municipalities for the delays, saying in part municipalities have known about the new rules and regulations since the spring of 2024, giving them ample time to prepare and make a plan on election day so that it runs smoothly. And ballot counting is complete in several southern Alberta communities. In Brooks, Norm Gerstein is the new mayor after John Petrie decided not to run again. In Coaldale, incumbent Jack Van Ryan returns as the mayor's chair, amidst the ongoing labor dispute with town workers. In Taber, incumbent Andrew Prokop wins again, beating former Taber and Blood Tribe Police Chief Alfred Rudd. Turning to Claresholm, where Brad Schlossberger wins after he was first elected in 2023 in a by-election. In Crow's Nest Pass, Pat Ripon is the new mayor, winning by a wide margin after longtime mayor Blaine Painter did not run. In Nanton, incumbent Jennifer Handley is re-elected for her third term. And in Redcliffe, Chris Zember has been elected as the new mayor. In Colehurst, former deputy mayor Deb Florence moves into the mayor's chair after Lindsay Montina chose not to run for re-election. Let's bring in our Danielle Savoni now to talk about the forecast this week. Danielle, what have we got?
We got some good stuff this week. You know, I'm sure you liked today. It was a lot warmer than yesterday. Windy still, we talked about that. So mainly sunny for much of the day, 14 degrees right now in the Lethbridge area. Check out wind gusts though, just over 70 kilometers per hour, Pincher Creek over to Lethbridge. It's about 10 degrees higher than what was expected for today. Medicine Hat around 35 kilometers per hour, which will continue. This will all continue for the next hour or so, and then it will start to slowly calm down for the day. All right, when we look at temperatures overall, much warmer than what we had yesterday, as you can see here, with many communities in the teens. Medicine Hat in those mid-teens, Brooks in the high teens. Your full forecast is just ahead, Jackie.
Okay, thanks, Danielle. Well, the province is looking at making even more changes to provincial and municipal elections. During the fall session, it plans to introduce new legislation requiring candidates to be vetted. The province says it wants to ensure candidates are serious about representing a community or riding. The UCP says the proposed change is in response to recent initiatives targeting Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre.
We have seen instances around the country where certain interest groups have taken upon themselves to confuse, I think, in some instances, some of the those who are going to the ballot box and creating very long ballots. But in terms of our intent, again, is to clarify the process, make it easier for people who are genuinely interested in running for office to get on the ballot and convey their message.
The fall session of the legislature starts on Thursday. New research shows Albertans are not keen on replacing the RCMP. Polaris Strategic Insights conducted a survey in August for the National Police Federation. It found 81% agree there are more important priorities for the province than changing who polices local communities. 76% of Albertans in RCMP-served areas are satisfied with their policing. 71% say the public has not been properly consulted about replacing the RCMP. If you are a snowbird heading south of the border this winter, there's a new rule you should be aware of. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says since April, some Canadians planning U.S. visits have been required to complete a registration form. The application asks for personal and biographical details. It requires biometric data collection, including fingerprints. It requires anyone over 14 years old staying in the U.S. for more than a month to register. The rule does not apply to Canadians visiting for less than a month or those with Nexus clearance. A large tract of grassland in Lethbridge County is being donated for conservation. Over 500 acres of land will be preserved as prairie grassland. The land, which sits along the Oldman River, is being donated to the Nature Conservancy of Canada by Diane Glover. It's been in the Glover family for 3 generations. It will now be managed in perpetuity by the NCC. The land will stay a working landscape so that ranchers can have their cattle graze on it.
We charge basically market rates for great access to grazing. And, you know, grasslands, they evolved in response to grazing by large animals, particularly bison. So they really need to be grazed to stay healthy. And so that'll continue for this property.
The NCC is working to preserve 500 hectares of prairie grassland by the year 2030. Currently, about 60,000 hectares of grassland are disappearing every year. Nikki-Yoko Japanese Garden has won another prestigious award. Communities in Bloom has given the garden a rating of 5 blooms or bronze and a special mention for its Winter Lights Festival. The garden was awarded the rating during the 2025 International Symposium and Award Ceremony in Ontario this past weekend. Over the summer, trained judges traveled across the country evaluating the overall contributions of municipal council, industry, and businesses having on each attraction. Nikki-Yoko was chosen for its ability to transform from a summer destination to a winter attraction with its annual Winter Lights Festival.
The other part that I think that we got high points on is our community engagement and support. I think working with the community to ensure that our garden is reflecting the community that nurtures it. And in the winter months, we are a leader in the garden industry and tourism for creating winter products and events.
This year will be the 10th season for the Winter Lights Festival, which is set to open November 29th. A Milk River couple are $100,000 richer after spending $20 on a scratch and win Lotto ticket. Michael and Brenda Laham bought the winning Crossroad ticket when they stopped for fuel in Lethbridge. When Brenda scanned the ticket in store, the screen lit up with the winning number. Brenda says she was shaking like a leaf and could not breathe, but had the biggest smile on her face. The couple have no plans on what they are going to do with the windfall yet. They bought the ticket from South Country Co-op Chinook Gas Bar in Lethbridge. Danielle is back after this break with your 5-day forecast. Also, we'll tell you how AI is being used to better detect cancer.
Here's your sky cam facing west, and no matter which way you look today, it looks pretty good. Temperatures warmer today than what we had yesterday, and we're going to climb even further this week. This is a warm week, especially during the work week. It deteriorates a little by the weekend, and by next week, many days, we're going to have daytime highs in the single digits. So hopefully you can make the best of the warm stuff. Okay, Calgary got up to 13, so did Vancouver and Victoria for today. Some of the warmer spots on the map, on this map anyway, Toronto and Halifax at 16, but closer to home here, we got to 17 degrees in Brooks and now at 18 degrees, at 16 in Medicine Hat. So we have that warmth here as well, and 14 in Lethbridge and Milk River. All right, it has been a gusty day today, so over 70 km/h gusts in Pincher Creek and Lethbridge. It's been quieter in Medicine Hat, around 35 km/h. We're looking at calmer winds for tomorrow for the most part, but we'll likely still get up to about 50 km/h tomorrow in the Pincher Creek area, and then Lethbridge over to Medicine Hat, just 20 to 30 is what's most likely. So a calmer wind day, still a lot of warmth, a lot of sunshine. Sounds like a fantastic day to me. We don't really have anything to talk about in the far south for right now. This is a weather maker for central Alberta mainly and areas east of the QE2, and it's not much really to talk about as it is. I'm going to advance the futurecast, and I'm just going to press play here. I'm not freezing it at any point because there's really not a whole lot to focus on other than you can see, yeah, a couple cloudy periods here and there, but mainly sunny skies as we head through the rest of the work week. The mountains are going to hold off that moisture and keep it off into BC. So -1 tonight because we're not really going to have any cloud cover to hold in the heat in the East Kootenay area. Fog patches will develop. There's a little bit of moisture. Fog patches carrying into tomorrow morning, but a whole lot of sunshine throughout the day and a high of 12 degrees. So a pretty nice day there. Crow's Nest Pass at 0 tonight. Winds gusting up to 50 km/h for the evening hours, and then those will be back again tomorrow up to 50 km/h. And then we're looking at 15 degrees as the high with, again, a whole lot of sunshine. So it's very stable tomorrow. -1 overnight in Medicine Hat. The gusts around 40 km/h. That will calm down overnight tonight, and then we should not have any wind tomorrow, other than at times up to 20 km/h. So that's nothing. 15 degrees is the high, mainly sunny skies. Okay, looking at that longer range forecast here, and check this out. Late October, 17 degrees for Wednesday. We're looking at much calmer winds, just up to 30 km/h. And then 17 for Thursday, close to that 20 mark, possibly for Friday as well. And then again, things change a bit by the time we get into the weekend. 15 for Saturday, cooler on Sunday with a single-digit daytime high, and then overnight flurries possible Sunday night.
Doctors in Montreal are using a new AI tool to help detect cancer earlier. It's all part of a major medical advancement aimed at offering patients a better prognosis. CTV's Olivia O'Malley has the details.
I'm looking forward to that.
Peter Ross was given 14 months to live when doctors found a tumor in his brain. That was almost 4 years ago. Now he and his wife are getting ready to become grandparents. He says his second chance at life is all thanks to this surgical device made in Montreal that uses AI.
It's given me the rest of my life.
I keep pinching myself that, wow, he's still here. He's still here. So, and the alternative is that he's not. So whatever happens, it's, we're grateful.
Ross was referred to Dr. Kevin Petreka at the Montreal Neuro. He is the co-founder of Sentry, a handheld device that differentiates cancerous tissue from healthy tissue.
98.7% of the time, if it says it's tumor, it's tumor. And equally, or maybe even more importantly, if it says normal brain, it's normal brain 100% of the time.
Petreka says cancer is not visible to the naked eye or any other technology. So this tool allows surgeons to go beyond what was previously possible and remove more cancer than ever before.
You make contact with the spot and you will get feedback within less than 3 seconds if it contains tumor cells or not.
According to Petreka, using this device during surgery can extend a patient's life by 2 to 5 times longer than expected. Hundreds of patients have been involved in clinical trials, including Ross.
I take every extra day that's given to me to go out and walk and just, enjoy life, because I owe that to this surgery.
The next step for Sentry is to be FDA approved. A pivotal trial is scheduled for May. Once completed, Petreka says they will apply for Health Canada approval. Ross hopes after that the tool will help more patients live to experience precious milestones. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
Now to a new approach to pain management. Doctors are looking at the healing powers of music.
When you are fearless.
At UC San Diego Health, singers and musicians are part of its pain management team. Recent studies show listening to music can lower the perception of pain or raise a patient's ability to tolerate it. Now, no one's saying music can eliminate serious pain, and the science is still being studied. What seems to help is when patients listen to the music carefully instead of treating it as background noise. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. The Toronto Blue Jays are headed to the World Series. We have sports next. Hurricanes management has shaken things up a bit. The team has finalized a pair of trades. Friday, the Canes swung a deal with Regina Pats for defenseman Braden Smith and in exchange for a pair of draft picks. Smith has appeared in 61 games over 3 seasons for the Pats. And later that day, the team announced it had also traded defenseman Carson Olsen to the Kamloops Blazers for a conditional 8th-round pick in the 2026 draft. NHL Central Scouting has released its preliminary players to watch list for the 2026 NHL Draft, and the list features 89 players from across the WHL. A pair of Hurricanes grabbed rankings. Goalie Cohen Cleaver and forward Gavin Lusick each earned W grades as potential 6th or 7th round picks. Medicine Hat Tigers, they led the way in the WHL with 10 players making the list. Kyle Hedger and Liam and Marcus Ruck earned B grades as 2nd and 3rd round prospects. For the first time in more than 30 years, the Toronto Blue Jays are heading to the World Series, and they did it in pretty much the most dramatic way possible.
The 1-0 pitch. High fly ball. Left field. Arozarena watches it go!
With Toronto trailing, George Springer hit a 3-run shot in the bottom of the 7th, and it gave the Blue Jays a 4-3 lead. The comeback was complete in the 9th inning when closer Jeff Hoffman struck out the final batter.
The payoff. And for the first time in 32 years, the Blue Jays have won the pennant.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was named MVP of the ALCS, and then came the celebrations. The James locker room filled with players spraying champagne and beer. Jays fans, how are you feeling?
It felt amazing, and it just felt crazy when George Springer hit that home run. The whole crowd was going crazy, so it's just like a special moment in my life.
And the next thing you know is we're going to win the World Series, and the dream of a hometown boy from Toronto will come true, and I can't wait.
And that's it. Bring on the Dodgers, baby. Bring on the Dodgers.
And now the Jays take on a juggernaut in the Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 1 of the World Series goes Friday in Toronto. One baseball fan hit a home run after coming across a once-in-a-lifetime collection at an estate sale worth thousands of dollars.
Everything from Cy Young to Christy Mathewson, John McGraw, all bunch of Hall of Famers on there.
Tom Conrad from Boston found a rare baseball card collection dating back to the early 20th century. The cards came from an estate sale at an old house in Rhode Island, listed for just $75. Among some of the best finds in the collection, a 1909 Cy Young card that is estimated to be worth $2,000 on its own. Tom Conrad is currently auctioning off the cards on Facebook, with the top bid sitting at $6,700. The Edmonton Elks are helping high school players stay sharp during the Alberta teacher strike.
We really just didn't want to see them sitting around for two weeks or so and then having to go back and jump back into games immediately.
The team is holding a training camp for players free of charge. 140 players are taking part, getting a chance to learn from the pros. The camp is scheduled to run until the end of the month. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, how an Edmonton group is giving stray dogs a paw up this winter. As temperatures drop, an Edmonton group is working with Indigenous communities to protect their dogs outdoors from the cold. CTV's Sasha Pietramella has more.
He's one of our dogs from the community.
This is Bowser. For dogs like him, living outside year-round is the reality, even during harsh Alberta winters.
A lot of the dogs that are out there, can't survive winter without any shelter or protection. And with a lack of resources available out there to them.
The Paws Up program is doing what they can to help out before the snow starts to fall.
We build dog houses and provide them for those that need them.
This weekend, they delivered 26 shelters for dogs living outdoors in Indigenous communities. Each house is insulated and filled with straw, giving each pup enough warmth to get by.
We have actually had one of our community members' dogs give birth in one of the dog houses in the wintertime. So luckily, all her babies survived because we were able to provide the shelter for them.
For volunteers helping out, that's what drives the hard work.
I just want them all to get homes. If I had an acreage, I'd probably have 20 dogs on it.
Paws Up Vice President Kirsten Yakimowicz says these shelters are a drop in the bucket when compared to how many dogs need them.
We could probably build 100 dog houses and it still won't be enough.
This is the program's third consecutive year building and delivering dog houses. Yesterday, dogs on Alexis Nakota Sioux Nation and Paul First Nation received their fetching new homes.
Yeah. I love seeing the dogs get new homes too. It's very rewarding sometimes to see them find their homes.
Paws Up also provides grooming and vet care in the communities, as well as feeding hundreds of dogs and dozens of cats through its weekly Meals on Wheels program. Sasha Pietramella, CTV News, Edmonton.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.